knowledge and expertise with us. And I would like to thank you first. Thank you very much for joining us at Rosas.
Thank you.
And a very special thank you for Dr. El Haloui for accepting graciously our invitation to lead tonight's conversation. Dr. El Haloui is a professor of linguistics at Cadi Ayyad University in Marrakech, where he coordinates the master's program in linguistics and directs a doctoral program dedicated to the decipherment of ancient libical Amazigh inscriptions. His research explores the deep history of language in North Africa through epigraphy, inserted linguistics, and cognitive evolution, work that is as fascinating as it is groundbreaking. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. El Haloui and Dr. Antonio Rosas. And thank you all for being here tonight.
What's your favorite way of doing it? Standing up, or would you like to prefer to sit?
It's up to you.
I prefer to stand up if you don't mind. No, but you can just sit down for the moment when I finish. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't know. I mean, if I need to introduce Dr. Antonio Rosas, how much of him you already know, if I need to introduce him. But I've written something that I would like to read out for you, just I mean for people who do not know anything about him. Dr. Rosas is a paleoanthropologist. That's how you would like to introduce yourself.
That's
okay?
right.
You have written extensively on the things that you're working on, and my understanding that you've been able to write something like 300 articles on these things, and we have quite a lot of things to, I mean, learn from you today. But if you don't mind, I mean, instead of just, I mean, introducing you in a formal way,
Sure.
I would like to start with the straightforward question. Okay?
Sure.
I think that for many people here, they already understand who an anthropologist is. Probably you do. An archaeologist, a mathematician. Probably you do understand what a linguist is as well. Okay, it's easy to understand. But who is a paleoanthropologist? What's that about exactly? Could you please make us as close to your realm as possible by telling us a little bit about this paleoanthropology? It's even hard to pronounce, okay? And for today, we'll be learning about quite a lot of things that are very hard to pronounce anyway. So, sir, could you please introduce us to your career, your academic career a little bit?
Sure. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of this event. We are, my wife, who is also an archaeologist, Paleolithics. We are very pleased to be here, and thank you very much for the audience. It's my first time giving a cultural event, a talk in Morocco, and I hope it's not going to be the last. So, trying to answer the question, what is a paleoanthropologist? Well, paleoanthropologist is a word that is composed by two names, two words. Paleo, meaning that is we study the past in the sense that the paleontology, that's what is the record of the life in the planet. And anthropologist is the study of the human beings. So the paleoanthropologist, we study the remains, the fossils for our ancestors. That's the meaning of paleoanthropologist. The people, just to clarify it a little bit more, the paleontologists that study, for instance, the dinosaurs, which is a group of animals that were living many million years ago, they are paleontologists that study dinosaurs. But the ones who study the fossils, the remains from our ancestor, we call ourselves a paleoanthropologist.
I see. That's very helpful, sir. I mean, Dr. Rosas was very kind of him that he provided me with 6 articles written by him, and I had to go through them. It was not a very easy task, but I did my best. And I'm quoting this, okay. At one point, you described your work as being holistic approach. I'm translating.
Yes.
Holistic in the sense, for people who speak only Arabic here, like it's like المقاربة الشمولية. Okay. So what do you exactly mean by holistic approach, apart from taking pieces of evidence from here and there, a little skull from here, a little bone from here? What do you mean by this holistic approach? And what is interesting, what is revealing about holistic approaches that we would not be able to understand if we were studying only archaeology or epigraphy or anthropology?
Well, actually, the word holistic approach, it could be used also the word multidisciplinary. It could be another way to explain this.
Yeah.
In the sense, let's imagine that this marker is just a human remains, a fragment of a human, for instance, or many 200,000 years ago. And some people dedicate to study what is here, just here, in the sense that the peculiarities, the morphology, the details, the structure. But if you consider that these remains come from a place which is varied in an stratigraphic sequence, and you can also study the chronology, how old is that? And if this is together with this other, and this other, and this is humans or human ancestor, but this remains is coming from animals, from other animals of an ecosystem. So the holistic approach means that we want to try to study not only the human being itself, the organism, but the context, the ecosystem, the relationship, the chronology, the relationship with other animals, with other plants, with the climate. So to put this, what we call this human being, this animal, in a general context.
I see. Just to bring our audience, especially those among them who are not familiar with you and with your work in a direct way, to bring them as close to your work as possible, I would like to ask you, how close are you to the things that you are studying? Okay, let me be concrete. For example, you studied this Thomas Quarry 1 thing. Do you touch these things? Do you get just pictures of them? Do you go to the place and you excavate? Or what's your subject matter exactly?
Yep.
Is it something tangible, something concrete that you touch and that you analyze and that you can play with? Or do you receive some data from other people who are working with you in your team and then you analyze it?
Always.
Yeah.
But trying to answer that question, I would make a simple classification of paleoanthropologists. One would be the ones that are interested in the study of bones, but they don't go to the field. They don't excavate. This is one category. There is another category, and we work within this category, that we excavate. We go to the field, and we let's say we extract the fossil from the earth, from the sediments. We touch the sediments. We touch the fossils. We look for them. And for instance, working in Equatorial Guinea also, and we have been looking for fossils there.
I see.
In the country.
Yeah.
In the field properly. Yeah. And nowadays there is a third category of paleoanthropologists that they work only with the computer.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the fossils can be digitalized, and they can be a in silico object. So they spend their career just in front of a screen.
Yeah.
That would be the third category.
But that's not you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We work with computers necessarily.
Yeah, I know.
And nowadays it's just necessary to work with the computer and because we digitalize the fossil, the object, and we work in this because we work with the internal structure, many things.
Yeah.
But let's say our category of paleoanthropologists, we go to the field.
Okay.
We touch the object.
Yes. When I was talking to Dr. Rosas just a moment ago, I told him, and he felt that I was exaggerating. Okay. I told him that for me, you are one of the very rare human beings who can tell us something very interesting about human beings and their origin, how they came here, where they came from, etc. So it's very interesting that, I mean, the stories that he's talking about, it took place not very far from here, something like 300 kilometers from Marrakech. I find it very interesting. Why is that? I'm not proud of it because I didn't make it. I mean, it just happened, okay? But then it's very interesting to say that the beginning of the story that you studied, that you touched, happened somewhere here. But before we go into this, just a moment ago, you were showing me some pictures on your slides, and I was interested, especially in that slide, which kind of gives the background of the discussion that we are having.
Okay.
Because we are telling a story, but then what's the background of the whole story? Dr. Rosas has some pictures that I think would be worth looking at.
Let me introduce you a little bit on the subject, and then we can go into the details you consider.
Sure.
But just let you know, because we are now talking let's say in that way, our excuse today is talking about the Moroccan fossils, which are really important and are becoming actually quite relevant in the study of human evolution quite recently. But this is just one particular case, and we could be tomorrow and organize another event and we're talking about other fossils or other problems in human evolution. So what I mean is in Africa, which is what is called the cradle of humankind, the humanity, most of the evidence, most of the documents we have, most of the history we have come from countries located in the East Africa. I'm pointing here, but let me. Do you have a pointer, by the way? No. Okay. Doesn't matter. Most of the evidence come from the countries located in the east of the continent. You know, probably, I'm sure you know, Lucy coming from Ethiopia, for instance, Ethiopia, or Dubai Gorge, which is in Tanzania, or in Kenya, many other places. And also, for instance, actually the first real fossil that was discovered in Africa in 1925, that gave name to the Australopithecus africanus, was discovered in South Africa. So it's in this area.
And this Homo cabish thing? Homo cabish, is that the name, or?
No, this is much older than Homo cabish.
I see.
Much older.
Yeah.
But what about North Africa? There has been classically here in Morocco and in Algeria some evidences, but very few. It has been from the last perhaps 20 years, a little bit more, that these old evidences and the new ones has become in the front of the discussion, on the front of the debates. So, and there are actually, you can see in that map several spots, several points. That means there are some sites that has produced some kind of interesting evidence. Well, I put that slide just to trying to answer. We call about hominids. Hominids means the family, the zoological family, where we are classified. Let's say, for instance, cats are felids, or dogs are canids, or primates, whatever. So our zoological group, closest, that include the human beings, we call hominids. What is hominids? Actually, a hominid means every descendant from I put it in the last, perhaps it's much easier. This is a little bit complicated picture, but it's okay. Let's go to focus here now. It's in the last common ancestor, there was an animal that was living about 7 million years ago. We paleoanthropologists, we talk about millions of years. It's a lot of time, but we become familiar using this kind of terminology, but if you think in 1 million years, it's quite a lot of time. So, more or less, approximately 7 million years ago, we infer it was living an animal, a primate, that gave rise to two different lines. One is which descendant are the living chimpanzees, and the other one has produced ourselves, the human beings. So, in between this last common ancestor and we, human beings, what we call ourselves Homo sapiens, there has been a lot of animals, we call animals, so hominids that are nowadays extinct. And all of this group we call hominins. And actually we are now in our discussion for today, we are actually working only in this last million years. Before there are a lot of evidence, but we are going to be focused today in the last 1 million years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
Just, where was Lucy in this?
Okay, fine. Lucy is just
She's an ancestor.
here.
Yeah.
It's more or less a little bit less than 4 million years ago. A little bit less. But here is Lucy, what is the center of two different lines. One is called Paranthropus, and the other is giving rise to what we call the genus Homo and others. And then from there, the Homo habilis, there are others, what species, fossil species that nowadays are completely extinct. So the only representative of this hominin, of all of this diversity, are we, Homo sapiens.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I have a question that I do believe that many people are asking, which is this. So when you do your work, you are collecting evidence from here and there. You are reconstructing the early Homo sapiens. You are reconstructing a part of, our ancestors, which is technically called now Thomas Quarry 1. You are reconstructing a lot of Neanderthals.
Yes.
But what you do particularly is that, you piece up things. You bring one little piece from here and one little piece from here and one little piece, and you bring things together. That's what we call reconstruction work. So to what extent do you feel evidence about this methodology of research? To what extent do you feel like, well, I'm telling the truth, and when I piece up things, I know what I'm talking about?
Fine. Actually, let's go to say there are several layers in order to reconstruct, in order to have a more or less complete picture of one particular ancestor. The first is what we specialists do is describing and comparing different evidences from here and from there and from there, and we can make a general picture about how the body has changed, how one particular structure, let's say for instance the teeth or the mandible or our brain, who has increased quite a lot in our evolution, because for instance, just as an example, the chimpanzees, which is the living species the closest to us, has a brain size that is more or less 400 cubic centimeters. We have 1,030 or 4,100. So it has increased 1 liter in our evolution. This is in the size of our brain.
1 liter.
1 liter.
Wow.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot. So we can describe in all of these stages, in all of these species, we can trying to figure out what is the corporal structure and what we call the phylogenetic relationship, what means the evolutionary relationship between what is the ancestor, what is the descendant, what is what we call the sister group. So the species that has evolved in a divergent way. Fine. This is the most basic description, and this is let's say the level I work with directly with the evidence we have. And then there are another layers they putting together. For instance, in the past ecosystems, because the Earth, our planet, has changed quite a lot from that time, and the climate has changed quite a lot and has becoming more arid, much more arid. So that's the general reconstruction. But some people then, what is nowadays is called paleoartists. Paleoartists. The people, the artists that makes physical reconstruction.
Yeah.
Like that, in a way.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is a fellow there.
Interesting.
In that case, we don't have the complete evidence.
Okay.
We have a fragmentary piece of this puzzle. What is, but these people, these artists, make a complete picture.
Yeah.
Because we need complete pictures.
And do you trust them? Do you trust them? You trust their work?
It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends. In that case, it really depends on the quality of the basic information, because the better the information we have, the better the reconstruction.
Yeah, I see.
If we have very little information, it's much more difficult to make a complete picture of what we are looking at. And depends on the quality of the artist and the information he or she can get from us scientists. And then there is always necessarily a component that is the interpretation of the artist.
Oh, I see.
Always.
Their imagination.
The imagination and what is the faction from the moment.
Yeah, okay.
When you look at the history of this reconstruction, for instance, at the beginning of the 19th century, the reconstruction were much more different than ours.
Yeah.
Because the faction from the moment is projected on the reconstruction.
Yeah.
But we need this complete way of looking at the past. Otherwise we are only dealing with bones, fragments, and things that most of us can imagine how was.
That's exactly the question that I wanted to ask you. Now, I mean, probably one of the things that you need to learn about Professor Rosas is that probably more of what we know about Neanderthals, we know it from you. Probably.
No. There are many other people working with Neanderthal.
Yes.
We work
but I also know that, I mean, a great part, let me qualify it and say a great part of what we know about Neanderthals, we know it from you.
A little bit, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's modesty. Is it possible, I mean, how can we make the picture, just if we'd like to make it more concrete, I mean, for myself and for the audience as well. You made a lot of comparisons between Neanderthals and the early Homo sapiens, like Ehud. I know that you are very good at explaining the anatomical differences between the two, and I would like you to tell us something about this. But I mean, if I ask you to tell us something as concrete as possible about Neanderthals that you know, I'm dreaming of, for example, of knowing how they would sound when they scream and when they talk. Do they talk like this, for example, or like us? Okay. So, what are some of the concrete things about Neanderthals that you know? And then we'll come back to Ehud.
Okay. Let me show you that slide is a good. Neanderthals. Look at this. We have in all of this evolution, all of this. Actually, these little squares represent a species of, in that particular case, what we call the genus Australopithecus, or these are the genus Homo, for instance, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Neanderthals are located here. This HN is Homo neanderthalensis, and we have here Homo sapiens. So Neanderthals are actually our sister species,
okay,
in the sense that we share a last common ancestor that actually we describe this in Spain, what we call Homo antecessor, And the fossil from Casablanca, by the way, has been related with this important piece in this tree, this last common ancestor. Why Neanderthals are so important for us, or better say, why Neanderthals are so attractive? Because we are really, they are completely extinct. There is no Neanderthals living in the planet. They were very similar to us, but different at the same time. So that controversy, that contrast between being very similar and at the same time different is what we say many times is the mirror where we look ourselves. So when we look at the Neanderthals, we are asking about ourselves. That's the real interest, because as much as we know on Neanderthals means that much more we know about ourselves. Because just because they are in this little branch of the tree, our closest relative.
Yeah.
They were extinct 40,000 years ago. So quite recently, when we talk about geological time, but the what we call technically the phenotype, so the appearance, the anatomy, the structure of is similar, but it's different.
Yeah.
So they evolve in a line, and we have evolved in another way.
So speaking of their phenotype, of their anatomical features, what are some of the main anatomical features that would help me to recognize Neanderthal as Neanderthal if I come across them, if I meet them? How can I know that this is Neanderthal? From their face, for example.
Well, the face of our face, it is interesting, because our face properly, when we are mammals, zoologically speaking, and if we look at different mammals, let's say horses, let's say dogs, or even cats, they have a muscle. The face is elongated. The muscle is long, very long, and the brain, what we call the vault, is very small. So it's small and very large. We are exactly the contrary. We have really big one, and the face is retracted. Really. Actually, if we put in that table a lot of skulls of mammals, one of the ears is ours, because it's very peculiar. Our face is retracted and is under the front, just below, and the other mammals are. So this is our peculiarity. By the way, it's a peculiarity that probably start happening here.
Yes.
And Neanderthals, on their side, evolved a long face. Comparing with us. Not as long as a dog, not at all, but much longer than us. And the brain of the Neanderthals were even larger than us, but with a different shape. So they didn't have what is called the front, in the front bone, that is in ours is almost vertical, like that. They were inclined in that way. So they have big brains.
Is their ridge continuous?
The bow bridge, well, actually, it is called double arch. It's a little bit continuous, but double arch.
Double arch.
Not completely continuous as Homo erectus, for instance, that is an earlier, more primitive species. So Neanderthals is a combination, very, very strange combination of anatomical feature. Is big brains, but flat, elongated, even larger than us.
And correct me, Dr. Rosas, when I see the picture, it seems like the chin, it's small.
Yeah, the chin
is that true?
The chin, this is one of our peculiar features in our anatomy is the chin, what is called this structure. This is quite peculiar for our Homo sapiens species. Neanderthals don't have chins.
They don't have them.
No, they have it is vertical.
Yeah.
The this part of the mandible is called the symphysis, and it's vertical.
Yeah.
May I say that?
Sure.
Is there a possibility that Neanderthal and Homo sapiens met at some point or coexist? Or
Well, this is another subject quite interesting. Actually, this is quite
Come into
interesting subject,
Yeah.
and it's a long history to talk.
Yeah. In fact, sir, that's exactly, I mean, the question that I would like to pave the way for now, moving to the next subject. I would like to ask some questions about the relationship between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, but let me be more specific. I read in many places that for this Irud
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thing, 315,000 years before now,
yeah.
that was discovered somewhere between Marrakech and Safi, not very far from here again. Irud, Homo sapiens. One of the things that I learned about it is that it's an example, an instance of what is called early Homo sapiens.
Yes.
Why this early? Why this qualification? Why not just, I mean, Homo sapiens? Why do we qualify him, her, it, whatever, as the early Homo sapiens?
Because, well, we move from that question. We will be back.
And then we'll come back to your question because it's an interesting question.
We will be back.
The coexistence of the
Yeah.
two.
Let's go to show. Well, this is just a short introduction. This is in the fossil record, in the hominid fossil record coming from Morocco. This is actually the evidence we have.
Okay.
The earliest one comes from actually some Spanish colleagues and Moroccan colleagues are working on this. What is the Aim Beni Mazar, if I pronounce this correctly?
Yeah.
It is very old. It's more than 2 million years.
Uh-huh.
And then we have actually the Thomas 1 Corey. It's more or less 1 million or 770. And then we have Jebel Irud at this here. Why early Homo sapiens?
Okay.
Because we are Homo sapiens, what we call ourselves modern Homo sapiens,
Okay. Yeah.
with this anatomy. But the fossils, this is Jebel Irud. Okay, the fossils that have a large mandible, a prognatic, big teeth, the face is like ours, and the brain is similar to ours, but not that large. So it's in the way of being Homo sapiens.
Okay.
We call that early Homo sapiens
Okay. Interesting.
because we can recognize in them some anatomical feature that can relate it then with us, but they don't have the complete set of characteristics that define Homo sapiens,
Yeah.
as we know from the present day.
Yeah. Interesting. So it's not only that this is the earliest traces of Homo sapiens that we have discovered so far. What we are having here is the earliest version of Homo sapiens.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I could see that people do not distinguish these two. It's not only that this is the earliest evidence for the existence of Homo sapiens here, but rather, in terms of the lineage, it's the earliest version of Homo sapiens, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, I mean,
It's actually, it's both.
okay, both of them, the earliest evidence and the earliest version of it. Yeah.
It's both.
Now, I mean, when I was reading that article by Hublin and the others,
Yes.
they were talking about this Irud Homo sapiens being Homo sapiens, as you have just explained, sir. But at the same time, they said that she has some characteristics of Neanderthals, which means it's like they retained some features of Neanderthals, subtle as they are, and at the same time, it's Homo sapiens. We know that it's Homo sapiens. What was exactly Neanderthal about Jebel Irud, Homo sapiens?
This is a really difficult question.
Okay.
It's a really difficult question. And actually, honestly, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay.
Nobody has an answer for that.
Okay.
Nobody. Because years ago, Jebel Irud was discovered, I don't know exactly the date, but it could
The
be
60s?
in the 60s.
In the 60s, I think 62, something like that.
And it was like that. It was like that. And then it has been a new project and new excavations, and they have recovered new fossils.
Yeah.
And there has been a new interpretation of these old fossils with the new ones. And because of the evidence from especially from the face, the structure of the face, which is similar to us, in the sense that we have the cheekbones are flat as our, and we call this frontal eyes in that way. Jebel Irhoud has this kind of a structure. What we can say is typically sapiens, typically Homo sapiens. Well, we can go into more details and discuss a little bit, but I think it's for the moment it's not worth. Let's say it's typical sapiens. But the brain case, what is this, the shape of this, look like Neanderthals. Look quite Neanderthal. Actually, many years ago, it was called Neanderthaloid.
Yes. Yeah.
No Neanderthals, but Neanderthaloid means that it's similar to Neanderthals.
Similar to Neanderthal.
Why this population, why Jebel Irhoud and other population got this kind of similarity with Neanderthals is a difficult question to be answered. But probably an answer, a hypothesis, a way of explaining that is saying that the shape of the brain case of Neanderthals is primitive.
Yeah.
So they share both the structure of the primitive ancestor, and because we didn't know years ago how was the ancestor, and we found this structure just in Neanderthals, we call this Neanderthal. But now we realize that this is not a specialization of Neanderthals, but this has been inherited from the ancestor. And they keep, the Neanderthal keep the primitive structure. We were talking about this in linguistics. They share the primitive structure, and ours has been evolved, derived. And this is one way of explaining why Jebel Irhoud has this kind of Neanderthal-like feature. There are another possibilities.
Yeah. And sir, let me just summarize it in my easy way, and please correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding of what you have just explained.
Mine is the easy way.
Well, I like it. Probably everybody likes this. I mean, to make things as easy as possible, super easy for themselves, just to make sure that they got the point. And my understanding is this. Jebel Irhoud, Homo sapiens is Homo sapiens. But there are some Neanderthal-like features about them, especially at the level of the brain case. Especially at the beginning in the 60s, it was even thought that probably this is Neanderthal. In fact, the article that was published by Hublin et al. And the others was supposed to answer the question, is it Neanderthal? Is it Homo sapiens? That's the problem, the scientific problem they wanted to solve. And what you are saying, sir, is that this is a very difficult question.
It is.
We don't really have an answer for it. It is very clear that Homo sapiens, but when you look at the brain case, it's like, I mean, Neanderthal. Is this what you're saying, sir? Basically?
Yeah, it's because the brain case is Neanderthal-like, and the combination with this Neanderthal-like brain case with this face that is Homo sapiens-like, we call Jebel Irhoud archaic Homo sapiens.
Archaic Homo sapiens.
Because the combination of archaic, primitive feature with modern ones.
I see.
This is because we call this archaic Homo sapiens.
Would you assure me as a Moroccan and tell me, yes, you can be proud of something, and tell me, yes, the earliest Homo sapiens emerged somewhere here in your country?
No.
Could I
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I can explain why.
Okay, yeah. Why not?
Do you want to explain this?
Yes, please do.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We have to go to a little bit of theory,
Yeah.
and we go here. In order to answer
Yeah.
your question, or you're saying to say, I'm going to be proud
Yeah.
of being
Yeah.
the descendant of the first.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
Yes, please.
I need a couple of minutes.
Sure.
There has been two different classic models for the explanation of modern humans and the living variation of modern humans.
Yeah.
Meaning we are what we call Caucasoid from Europe, there's then some from North Africa, people from the South Saharan people, people living in the East, and so on. So the variation of the human beings. There has been two different models classically for explaining that.
Okay.
One model that say that the origin of modern humans was located in one particular place in the space,
Yeah.
and that place was in East Africa.
Okay. Yes.
And other people think it was in the south, in South Africa.
Okay.
In that particular theory, it could be said what you said, not in Morocco, not in North Africa, but in East Africa.
Okay.
But there were the origin of modern humans.
Okay.
There are another model saying that the variation of people in the world emerged in each part of the world,
Yeah.
and they evolved from that.
Okay.
That model has been refused, and this also has been refused.
Okay.
And there is nowadays what is called the multi-regionalism within Africa, in the sense that the origin of modern humans, the origin of Homo sapiens, has been located in several areas of Africa, not just one.
I see.
So the species Homo sapiens has emerged by the combination of features that appear in South Africa, some of them in East Africa, another one is North Africa, and that population has been crossing one to each other. And this crossing of populations,
But all in Africa.
all in Africa. In Africa, for sure,
Yeah.
in our present knowledge, okay? But in different areas, North Africa, West, East, South, there has been appeared physical feature and cultural features. And after that, with this crossing, these hybridations, this melange, that crossing has produced Homo sapiens.
Interesting.
So there is not a single origin for Homo sapiens, but there are several focus here and there,
Yeah.
and crossing one to each other.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And this has produced what we call modern Homo sapiens.
Interesting. What the? Yeah, sure. Please.
In the previous slide,
The previous,
yeah, you were talking about the world.
in,
The rest of the world.
sorry?
I mean, on these slides, you're considering the world as this.
Yes.
And where is the rest of the world then? It's not broken. Doesn't
You mean America? It's, the answer is clear. Somebody said, is for that matter, for that issue, American is completely irrelevant.
No civilization.
It's because
Anyone from America?
look at this. Look at this. In this theory, in this model, the Homo sapiens appears in this, and there, what is true, spread out Africa. What is the called out of Africa? We are all descendants from this event that is called the out of Africa. And many years later, as late as 20,000 years ago, which is nothing in this context, people crossed the Bering Strait and went to America. But America has nothing to do with the origin of the Homo sapiens species properly. The colonization of America is really, really late. It's much later, for instance, than Australia. Much. Sorry?
You're also talking about South.
Yeah, including
North
South
America. Even South America is even less because people come into America through the Bering Strait in North America and then go to Mesoamerica and then to South America.
I don't mean to sidetrack, but I'm curious how much genetic research plays a role to some of these conversations. Forgive my ignorance, I'm even curious as to how long genetic evidence is available. In paleoanthropology, is there remnant genes that are ever available, or is that not a factor?
Well, this is a really big
Sorry to
subject.
interrupt you, Dr. Rosas. Just, for the sake of convenience, could we just, because we have two sessions, we have the question sessions, and after that, we will open it will be a question time for you, but it's okay. Professor Rosas, you can answer the question now, but just for the others, just for convenience, it's okay, it's okay. We will have a question session, and then whatever questions you have, you're most welcome. Okay? Even questions about America, it's okay.
Even.
Sir.
So, shall I answer?
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
No, yeah, it's okay.
No, it actually is a very interesting question because and the subject has becoming really very important. The evidence coming from genetics and what is called genomics more than genetics. Genetics is the study of genes. Genomic is the study of genomes, meaning that is the complete information we have in the genome, in our chromosomes, the genetic information. And we have also the paleogenetics, so the information coming from fossils, for instance, linking things. We participated in the really great project that is called the Neanderthal project, which extract genetic information from Neanderthal bones. And the main conclusion for that project was, answering your question, is that has been inbreeding between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. And that makes a different line of evidence with a lot of conclusion and a lot of information. And there are also another source of information, that is the information we can infer from our genetic information. Because geneticians study this, our information, putting in the context of what is called the population genetics, can infer some kind of, actually it's here. Nowadays, for instance, the present living humans and the genetic information coming from us, living people, has established that there has been 4 major groups of modern humans living, all of them coming from Africa, from the continent of Africa. One from the east, one from the south, one from the rainforest in the Central Africa, and one that is disappeared, that has been inferred living in the Sahel. And the origin of these 4 main groups is more or less 300,000 years ago. That information comes from the study of modern genomes and can be combined with the paleogenomic information. I don't want to go into details because it's a diversion of that.
Yeah, we will have some, time for questions and for some further discussion. Let me just summarize what Dr. Rosas said about the origin of the Homo sapiens. What he said, I'm just translating, is that the origin is in North Africa. I'm just translating. No, that's not what he said. What he said, did you call it regionalism? Is that the word that you use?
It's
that we have different regions?
African multiregionalism, which is an adaptation of this general model, what we call, it was called multi-regionalism, in the sense that
Multi-generalism, okay.
in many focus, in many places in the world, there has been
And then they
appeared,
brought
but
different
there has been
features.
refused.
Okay,
But this model has been put just in the context of Africa,
I see. Just in the context of Africa.
just in the context
Not
of
in the
Africa.
context of America.
Not in South America, not even
Not
in Asia.
not in South America, okay. I read an article recently about the importance of this feature of globularity of
Yes.
the drinking. And what I understood from that is that, I mean, even if we have Homo sapiens, but if their skull is not globular enough, that would not necessarily give rise to what we call modern Homo sapiens. So probably, I mean, the feature of modern Homo sapien, or the feature which is closer to our definition of Homo sapien, is this globularity thing. For the Homo sapiens of Irod, was it of this kind? Was their brain case globular enough for them to produce the culture that we call the culture of modern Homo sapiens, or was it far from that?
Well, actually, we were talking before, in the case of Jebel Irud, we are at the beginning of what we call Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
Actually, when we combine paleoanthropological and genomics information, we see, for instance, that the first evidence coming from the fossil record, the first is Jebel Irud, another from the east and another from the south, more or less. But the really earliest one, it comes from, and combining this with the genomic information, and it is detected that there are 4 different focus populations. And also combining this with the culture, what is the origin of what is called the Middle Stone Age, what is a way of producing stones, the napping of stones, the Middle Stone Age, where there has been several focus, several areas. Combining this, the picture emerging is that the origin of what we call Homo sapiens is there and there, but in there is just the face. In other places could be some changes in the mandible, and also combining with the use of decoration of the body in here and there. And when this is combined, it's producing what we call nowadays Homo sapiens, you and me, and all of us. What means that 300,000 years ago, we are not the same, because we have evolved, we have changed. So it's the beginning of the Homo sapiens lineage. We call lineage. If we call later about the Thomas I query, we will see how the Homo sapiens lineage could be even older than that.
Yeah, and that's exactly the question that I was intending to ask you, sir. You, paleoanthropologists, are very specific about dates. So, Irod, 315,000 years ago. Not even 316, but 315. Thomas Corey, 773,000. Am I wrong? Am I
the
correct
fossil,
about
the fossil ones?
Yeah, the fossil
are,
ones.
There are in Thomas Quarry. There are older
Older
evidence,
ones, yes.
Older evidence, but they are the stone tools.
Okay, yes. So 773,000. Okay. So could you please tell us a little bit about the difference between this discovery of the 773,000, which is Thomas Corey one? What's the difference between it and the 315,000, which is Bill Irod? What's the difference between these two types of hominins? Is it possible, for example, to describe, Thomas Corey one as the edge of Homo sapiens? Is it close to it? Is it different from it? What is the relationship between it and Neanderthals? Is it closer to Neanderthals? Closer to Homo sapiens? What's the story? And what happened between the two? What happened between Thomas Corey one and Homo sapiens? Do we have any evidence for a continuum, for example?
Let me show you.
Please.
No. Okay. We are we are going back in time. We have been talking about Jebel 330,000 sort of, and now we go back in time to the Casablanca, these ones, okay? That evidence, which is more or less, as you said, 717, roughly. There are 400,000 years of difference. It's a lot of time, for 400,000 years. When we put this in a what we call phylogenetic context, so in the tree of life, in a tree, what we see is, for instance, we have here the evolution of the genus Homo from 2 million years ago, 1 million years ago to the present time. We are here. This is our, okay? And these are the Neanderthals. We said a few minutes ago that the Neanderthals were our closest relative, the fossil. So, what in evolutionary theory, when we have two organisms, let's say humans and dogs, let's say dogs and cats, let's say dinosaurs and dogs, a couple of organisms, in phylogenetic theory, in evolutionary theory, we can say always that these two organisms can be related with a last common ancestor. We can, perhaps, if we try to relate human beings and plants that are also living beings, we have to go very early in the history of life. But in any time, we can find a last common ancestor of them. And from there, they has diverged and evolved in a different line. When we talk about modern humans and Neanderthals, by theory, we have to find a last common ancestor of modern humans and Neanderthals. And we proposed a few years ago that this last common ancestor was living and found in Spain, by the way, and we call this Homo antecessor. And we thought, well, this is the last common ancestor of two different evolutionary lineages. One that is evolving into modern humans, and the end of that is ourselves, and another lineage that was evolving into Neanderthals. So the discovery of the Thomas I Curry, the people who has described and studied this, has proposed that this Thomas Curry is close, very close to this last common ancestor. Why
which lived and was discovered in Spain.
It's similar to this.
Similar to it.
Similar. And actually, one of the strongest statements that they made in this publication is that the Moroccan fossils were more related to the Homo sapiens line, which after that evolved into Jebel and then in this complex process in modern humans. And the Spanish one was a little bit close to the Neanderthal line. And from then, it was evolving into a different line, evolutionary line, ending up in Neanderthals. So, for instance, in this diagram, Jebel should be somewhere here. Sorry, here. In the line of Homo sapiens. Jebel would be the first representative of this archaic early Homo sapiens, and the equivalent in Europe of Jebel, there are several fossils. Let's say, for instance, the Cima de los Huesos de Atapuerca, which is the ancestor of the Neanderthals. Jebel is the ancestor of Homo sapiens. And back in time, we will find the last common ancestor that is, by hypothesis, proposed to be represented by Thomas Quarry.
Interesting. Interesting. So the story is something like this. Let's started from the point of Thomas Corey 1,
Yeah.
773, something like that. And then, I mean, Jebel Irud, 315,000, and it was an evolution. It was not too long, but still it evolved.
You know, it's an evolution. Actually, what I wanted to say
Yeah.
is that Thomas Quarry, it is not morphologically, phenotypically, it's not like Jebel Irud because it's this one
I see.
very close to Homo erectus.
Okay, it's close. Yeah, okay.
Because actually, these fellows, the ones from the Thomas Quarry, will be the latest Homo erectus.
Okay, the latest
The
Homo
Homo
erectus.
erectus.
Okay.
And the beginning of the sapiens line, not the sapiens species. We have to differentiate between the species properly and the evolutionary line that give rise to the species.
Okay, okay. I'm just curious about something. I mean, we call her, Thomas Corey 1. Why is it that for this case, scholars could not find a name for it? We have Homo sapiens, we have Homo
Antecessor.
in Spain, but for the specific case, they are hesitant about finding a name for it. They name it after the place where it was discovered. Is there any scholarly reason for this? Does it reflect their hesitation about characterizing it, or for some other reason that I simply missed out?
No, it's because naming with a zoological name, in some ways, is a compromise.
Okay.
And perhaps there is not enough evidence with these discoveries to define or describe a new species or a species. It's because of that they said they are the latest Homo erectus.
Okay, the latest Homo erectus.
And it could be close to Homo antecessor. But in a way, it's just a matter of practical use. If you name something with a zoological name, there are a kind of formal restrictions that in some cases is better to avoid.
I see.
Because it's a trump in a way. So it's a way to bypass.
Yeah, to just avoid
these formalities, and also is combined with, but combine it with that there is not enough evidence to describe a new species or to identify that species.
Yeah. Okay, Dr. Rosas, I still have only two questions to ask. One is specific and the second one is general. And then we probably open the opportunity for the audience to ask their own questions. One question, I mean, is related to the question that was asked by Yusser, yes, when he was talking about the coexistence of Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. But my way of asking that question is the following. Now, we believe that Neanderthals are not there anymore because they did not have the technologies that Homo sapiens did have.
Exactly the same.
It's not the same thing.
No, they actually is are you talking about the disappearance of Neanderthals, the extinction of Neanderthals?
Yeah, I'm trying to reflect on this from the viewpoint of what would have happened, for example, if Neanderthals had survived and Homo sapiens did not fail to survive. What would be the case if Neanderthals are writing their history, but from their own viewpoint as survivors?
This is science fiction.
It is science fiction, yes. But I mean, the reason I'm asking this question is has to do with our interpretation of the data. That's why I'm asking this question.
Sure.
And this is a point that you are defending, I guess. I mean, looking at Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, it's more like a continuum, even if it's evolving, but we can see some features of the Neanderthals in the early Homo sapiens. No, so is it a matter of, is it a continuum? That's an easier way of asking the question.
But it is not a transfer continuum.
Okay.
The continuity comes from the ancestor.
Yeah.
So we have something that is, let's say, something that is like that, you can imagine. And then from that, there are independent evolution.
Yeah.
And this independent evolution finished in something different. But because there is a relationship between ancestor and descendant, some of the feature we have has been inherited from our ancestors.
Yeah.
So that continuity between this similarity between Neanderthals and modern humans are because we share our father and mother.
Okay. So because of the ancestor.
Because of the ancestor.
Not,
Let's say in that way, we are siblings, sisters, and brothers, and the similarity is because we share these similarities from our parents.
okay.
In that case. So there is no continuity between these end Neanderthals and these end modern humans in that way.
Yeah.
It's because we come from the same place.
Because we came from the same ancestor.
We come
Not
from
because
the
there is a continuity between the two.
This similarity, we can establish this similarity because we share features from our ancestors.
Did we play a role in the vanishing of Neanderthals?
That was my question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Why did the Homo sapiens go the right way? And why did the Neanderthals vanish?
I wouldn't say, for a beginning, I wouldn't say the right way.
Yeah.
It's just a way, not necessarily the right way. What is clear is that we follow different ways of evolving, and the Neanderthals actually become extinct. There are several theories, and it's a matter of discussion why Neanderthal disappeared. But there are a combination of factors. One is the size, the population size of Neanderthal were restricted, and there was what we call endogamy, meaning that they interbreed between close groups, and there was this biologically. This is it's not good for evolution because there is the biological variability became reduced, and this is not good for evolution. Also, there was climate change, what is strong, that probably was not good for them.
Okay.
And also, at the end of the history, modern humans appears in Eurasia, and perhaps we were an ecological competition.
Yeah.
There was an ecological competition between the two of the species, but the Neanderthal population at that time were quite deteriorated.
I see.
So,
Okay.
there is actually at the end, at the bottom, there is no a mystery in the sense that why modern humans are surviving and why Neanderthal became extinct. Because every species in the earth, every species in the evolutionary history, the end is going to be the extinction. We will become extinct, or we could evolve in another species. But when we look at the history of Earth, the history of life, most of the groups living has become extinct.
Yeah.
The best example, for instance, is the dinosaurs. When you look at the history of the Earth in the Cretaceous and the Jurassic, the diversity of dinosaurs was just amazing. Were the animals that were dominating the Earth, and suddenly, after millions of years, that disappears and becomes the mammals. Become what spread in the earth, and nowadays is the time for the mammals. Before was the time for the dinosaurs. Now is the time for Homo sapiens, and before was the time for Homo erectus. So it's a matter of history, not necessarily the matter of the right way.
What does those tools? Because I mean, for the Jebel Irhoud discovery, it was not only about this Homo sapiens, but it's also about the tools.
The tools
that they were using. What do those tools tell us about their culture, about the social organization, if any?
Sure.
One tool, one flake, for example, looks like the other one, which means that there is some abstraction behind all that. So what does all this tell us about the cognition of Homo sapiens that probably was absent in Neanderthals?
Well, actually, during many years, hundreds of thousands years of evolution, the culture of modern humans, early modern humans, and the culture of Neanderthal were quite similar.
Close.
Quite similar. It's at the time of Jebel Irut and much more later in what is called in North Africa the Arthurian cultures, and in South Africa others, and in East Africa, when the culture became more sophisticated. It what is called the origin of modernity. Archaeologists call them modernity, in the sense that appear in the archaeological record appear evidence of abstract thinking and symbolism.
Yeah.
For instance, is the discovery of what is called the ochre, the oxide, that is the iron oxide, that the people use for decorating the board, which means that there is a symbol behind that.
Red color?
Red and yellow.
And yellow.
And yellow color. And this is the origin of the symbolic communication.
Exactly.
Because when we wear things like that, or the rings and so on,
it tells me something about it.
We are telling things. And actually, the way we cut the hair and everything, the style of the glasses is a symbolism that they are communicating.
Yeah.
It's the fashion.
Yeah.
And the origin of this, what is the evidence in the archaeological record, is at that time. Neanderthals start developing this kind of symbolic thinking much later.
I see.
Much later.
Maybe 100,000 years ago, or even later than
even
that?
Later than that.
Later than that.
Even later.
Okay.
Well, actually, the first burials, which is a quite symbolic behavior, the burial, to bury a horse, the body, start with Neanderthals and modern humans in the Middle East.
Yeah.
In the Middle East, and more or less the same time.
Yeah.
But the ones that are associated with Homo sapiens, apparently they are starting to be much more sophisticated in the sense they have some kind of how do you say that in English?
Change?
No. When you put with the corpses, with the body, some kind of votive motive. So there's some kind of when you buy the corpses with the rings, for instance, or with the arms, with something that is related with the individual.
Okay. Okay.
I don't remember what is the English for that for that name.
Okay.
So there is evidence that there is a symbolic thought behind that, and something that is starting to think in what is in the other world. Let's say in that way.
I see.
But Neanderthals did that.
Yeah.
Too.
Interesting. This is not a question, but it's just, an invitation for reflection. So I wrote this little thing that I would like to finish my conversation with you with it. Paleoanthropology reconstructs the story of who we are and where we come from, but does knowing that story change anything anyway? Does understanding that we evolved from ancient African ancestors, that we interbred with Neanderthals, that our species is not the inevitable outcome of progress, but one contingent branch among many? Does any of this change how you think about what it means to be human?
Another good question. We are humans in the sense that we are an animal species. As a zoologist, I started defining us as an animal species who has evolved in a very peculiar way, and who has evolved into a physiology and in a biological background, especially concentrated in our brain, which has give us the possibility to invent ideas, to have ideas, and to exchange ideas. Probably the basis, what we call humans, humanity, or humanities, because actually when we talk about Neanderthals, we have to talk about humanities, not just humanity.
Humanities.
We have to increase the idea, the concept of humanity, because there has been several humanities in the history of the earth.
Yeah.
And these humanities, and especially ours, sapiens humanity, we have invented the capability of having ideas about words that doesn't exist properly, are only in our mind.
Yeah.
In our mind, and we share these ideas, and we share this imaginary world, and perhaps this make us human.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I have quite a lot of personal questions that I would like to ask you personally, but this is not the right time for doing that. We'd better just open the question time. Is there anyone who is moderating that, or should I just do it myself? Or?
You can moderate. I don't think people need microphones because the room is
They don't? They wouldn't? They'd better use microphone, I guess.
Because,
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, if we're talking about human beings, evolution from specific, it's apes or whatever, why there is no other creature on Earth or another animal that actually developed and become conscious like humans? This is the first question.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understood.
Human beings used to be animals in the beginning, and we developed and we become conscious. Why there is not another creature on Earth which also developed and become conscious or smart or that could think? This is the first question. Why we're speaking about evolution and not adaptation?
Trying to answer your first question, I would say all living being has evolved in their own way. So if you say, for instance, we humans, we have some very peculiar characteristics and very forceful capacities to transform the world. But if you look at, let's say, a species of tree, whatever you can imagine, or animal, or vegetable, all of them has evolved in their own way. But we has produced, or nature, not we, the nature has evolved in such a way that has produced what we are. And I think from my point of view, we are very special in the sense that we are animals that can change the planet. We are changing our planet. That's clear enough. But if we look at the history of Earth, there has been other organisms that has changed the planet. For instance, in a really big scale, we breathe oxygen. Before, I'm talking about 2,000 million years ago, the oxygen was toxic. And the atmosphere that we are living inside, this atmosphere, has been produced for other organisms. And this has been a really big change in the planet, in the history of the universe. So we are original, we are very peculiar, very original animals, very original beings, but there has been other that has transformed the planet.
So among millions of other species, you are the only one who got lucky to develop and become actually this kind of creature that could think and have ideas and speak and so on and so forth.
We are the only ones that has been so specialized like being like we are. But other beings, other animals, other plants are very original in themselves. They are not.
Conscious or unconscious?
Sorry?
Human beings is a conscious creature. Is there another creature on Earth nowadays, apart from human beings?
Not in the.
So among billions of creatures, we're the only one who got so lucky that we can actually we developed and we become somehow creature from being an animal. We become an animal who thinks, who speaks, who communicates, who has.
We are. I would say is my personal view. I would say we are animals that has become very peculiar, very original, very powerful, certainly. But I would say it is something that is difficult for me to explain that in another language. But I would say we are very original, very special ones, but we are not outside nature. Is what I want to say. We are very special, for sure, but within the nature, within the evolutionary tree. So we are very special, but we are not outside nature. Is what I wanted to say.
Unique but natural.
Unique but natural. That's what is a very nice summary.
Okay.
Good evening.